some business cards up here like I do. Okay. Alright, so, okay, some of the thoughts on screen time. Just want to make sure I was recording. Okay, so some of the thoughts that we have on screen time are just a bit different. So my husband and I, whenever we had our son, we kind of like planned on never watching TV or screens because my husband and I never watch TV. We don't have a TV in our, like, we never had a TV in our master bedroom. We had like one TV. It was in the living room and we never turned it on. We never used it. And whenever we were first married, we didn't even have a TV at all. Pretty much, we never had a TV basically up until we set it up in our home, like the big home that we had whenever we brought our son home from the hospital, the birth center. That's literally whenever we ever watched TV. That's the only time I ever watched TV was like my maternity leave and all that kind of stuff. So we never ever watched it. And so with us and our screen time and our decisions, and my son would never like sit down and watch a show. Like we don't like to sit down for too long and to be watching a show. We just don't. Like, we don't lay down. The only time we lay down or like relax is right before we go to bed. And that's it. Like, we just are always moving. We're always going. We're always doing projects. We're always busy. And like, our son has caught on to that. And our son has really gotten into being busy as well and having a lot of projects and doing fun things. And I tried to set up a Montessori-esque and Charlotte Mason-esque idea in our home where he has activities. He's got crafts available. He's got like around 6 or 7 different toys that he gets to play with. I do toy rotations. I do a lot of kind of stuff because he is so busy and so involved in every single thing that it just, I have to keep him busy. And we limit screens so much now. And also I've implemented him in our everyday lifestyle. So I don't put knives in the dishwasher because of the fact that he helps me unload the dishwasher now, and he helps me set the table, and he helps me clean the house, and he helps me do stuff like that. It takes forever. It would be so much easier if I did not have him helping me. It would go a lot quicker. But to be honest with you, I love having him involved. I love having him with me all the time. And I love having things that I don't have to plan for him to be occupied by. Because recently, as in like the last week and a half, we have cut out mostly screens. The only time he gets screen time is during the morning time, whenever he's waking up, or I don't know, just like sometime in there. That's the only time that we have allowed him to have screens, because we have messed up whenever we let him have screens. We let him have screens whenever he was little, but it would just be like someone reading a book. So it'd be like if I needed to go do something or go take a shower or go do something like that, it occupied him enough time for me to be able to do those things, and it just gave him like something fun to watch. It was primarily like people just reading books to him, and that was it. And then whenever he comes and stays with either my mom or my mother-in-law, they watch TV. They have TV on like all day, so he gets to watch that if he wants to, but he truly is not interested in TV. Like, he's just not. Like, he's not interested in stuff like that. But even the things that he did watch, so we let him watch Paisley's Corner, which is like Silly Miss Lily kind of things, Miss Rachel, those kind of things is what we did. And so, yeah, we did that and we let him watch that, and he has truly liked it. And he liked it so much all the time. And the other thing is that made it a regular thing with screens was we would put him in the car seat and he would scream. Every time he got in the car seat, he would scream. And so to avoid the screaming, we would show him a show, so that way, or a TV show or something fun like that, so that way he would not end up screaming and he would sit in the car seat and we wouldn't have to like forcefully set him in the car seat. But it turned out that that didn't really help him in any way. It actually made him lose his creativity. It made him not be as active. it was helpful for me because I got a lot of stuff done because he was so glued to the TV. Or it wasn't even a TV, it was like a tablet. Like he was able to be totally glued to the tablet because we have one family tablet that my husband, myself, and Jace, my son, uses. But I started realizing he has no creativity anymore. He's losing his ability to be busy, and he's losing his ability to be interested in toys and sticks and rocks and leaves and climbing on things. Like he's losing his imaginative play. And my husband and I really focus on imaginative play. That's a really big deal for us because we use typically open-ended toys or toys that are not super busy because of the fact that it makes children have an imagination that's very wide and varies, and we want him to have that, and we've always wanted that since he was really little. So I decided that we were going to cut out screens and just stop and do like a full detox, because I realized that through that time of him being addicted to a tablet, I was being addicted to my phone. My husband was being addicted to his phone. Like all of us were addicted to these devices. And we were like, no, this is not going to work. We are not going to do this. And so it's kind of like my initiative that I took, and my husband was on board, so it's not like I just like forced him to do it. But we cut back. We have not done screens besides in the morning time, really at all. For myself, my son, my husband, and then my husband does watch like a show or every now and then in the evening, but that's it. It's like a one YouTube video and that's it. And it has been the biggest blessing. I pretty much deleted like all my apps, social media apps, like my Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. The only thing I have that's like social media on my phone is Facebook Messenger, because I have clients on there that talk to me and stuff like that, so I want to make sure that I can get back to them. But basically, everything else is off my phone, and I don't ever look at any social media unless I'm at work, which is a huge blessing because then I'm not focused on. Through this transition, I realized I was becoming really crabby by not having my phone. Like even my mom noticed. She was like, something's wrong with you. I was like, I think it's because I'm detoxing from all the junk that's on social media. Not junk. Like my stuff is not junk, right? I'm kidding. But I mean, like there's just a lot of like fluff that's on social media, and it can really like give you some really bad, I don't know, just like weird feelings about things. And whenever I was not using it anymore and I wasn't focused on anything, it made me really crabby. And I realized like I need to do something about this. And my son, we did the same thing with him, right? So how did we detox my son from like looking and watching TV and stuff like that? It was not easy. I just want to be very honest with you, because this was like a month or two, probably 2 months of just letting him watch screens whenever. And it was awful for that whole week and a half. It took 7 days, a total of 7 days, to get him to not watch screens. And what I did is I set up screen times, like a time where there are screens that can be available to be watched. I did this and I created these rules around screen time because of the fact I realized I had no rules. And if I had no rules, then there was going to be no consistency. And as a parent, I value the fact that there is consistency in everything that I do, because children thrive on consistency, and I will preach that for a really long time. But all rules have to be consistent. You can't just come up with a rule and then not use it anymore. So for me, I came up with rules around screen time. And it's something that I will work with and use for pretty much the rest of my life and all my kids, because it's something that I firmly agree with, my husband agrees with, we're all on the same page. So when is screen time allowed in our home? Either in the morning, and it's a family show, we're all watching it together. We're not on our own devices, we're watching it all together as a family show. And that would be in the morning, and that could be like a workout video, that could be like a Silly Miss Lily or Miss Rachel kind of video, it could be a movie, it could be something like that, but it can be watched only in the morning, and that's it. And then the only other time that we did it again is afternoon or quiet time, and then when I'm cooking dinner. and then after bath. So those were the 4 times that I allowed screens to be in our home and to be watched while I was doing something. The primary thing that I was so worried about was dinner time, because I was working with hot things and I didn't want my son to get burned. But we took screens away one by one, and one of those that I was so hesitant on, which was dinner, ended up being just fine. Like, I just basically presented him with an activity during dinner time, and he played with that on the floor right next to me in the kitchen, and it's been fine ever since. So I would say, like, whenever I was ironing or whenever I was in the kitchen, I was most worried about him, and I allowed him to have screens because I was so worried. That was the last thing that I took away. But basically, those are when I would allow screen time, especially whenever we were detoxing him from screens. So I allowed him to watch like 1 show in the morning, 1 show before nap, 1 show in the evening whenever I was cooking dinner, and then 1 show after bath time. And I limited it to 1 show. And so I allowed him to watch screens 4 times a day, which was much less than what he was watching, which I'm so embarrassed to even say out loud, but that's the truth. So after that, I just took 1 thing away each time. Does that make sense? So in the morning, he still watches screens. I still allow him to watch screens. I don't think it's a big deal right now. If things change and he becomes less creative or something like that because of screens, I will then take them away completely. But I pretty much took away the evening and the afternoon screen time completely. My first one was afternoon because that was easy. That was for his nap time. I was going to allow him to wind down and watch a show, whatever, and then go to sleep. I pretty much cut that out and he was fine. He cried a little bit, but then after he cried for a little bit, it was fine and we moved on. The evening, I took, while I was cooking dinner, I took that last one out as well. And he seemed to be just fine. I presented him with an activity, and I do a kind of like a presentation kind of where I show him how to do the activity, and then I let him do the activity while I am working. This is an open-ended activity, which if you want to see more videos on that, let me know. But it's an open-ended activity to where you can apply it to a bunch of different things like blocks and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I do there. The nighttime videos, because I didn't know what to do with him at nighttime. I didn't know like what to do, really. Like, I had no idea. Do I read him books? Do I play games? Do I do this? Like, what do I do? But then I realized, like, just let him be outside as long as possible. If it's bad weather, then we do games, we do puzzles, we do books. I come up with random games, scavenger hunts, things like that that are fun for him to do. I Spy, all those fun like board games where you're bored and you want to play a game, or like, oh my gosh, the floor is lava, let's run around and try to not get on the lava, or like the rug is lava. Like, we do fun games like that in the evening, and honestly, he doesn't even realize that he's not getting screens anymore. But there was a time where whenever we were taking them away and I wasn't allowing him to have the iPad, it was hard. But this is what we did. So I would say, okay, we're gonna put the iPad away. Are you ready? And he would just look at me like, I don't know, am I ready? And so I would turn off the iPad and I would let him swipe to turn it off, to let him be involved in the process of putting the iPad away. And then I cleaned out a drawer and I put all of our devices in there, my phone and his iPad. And I would put it into the drawer and I would close it. He would immediately start crying. He was not happy about it at all. And it was something that was very difficult for him. So as a parent, it's not that great to always have a crying, whining, upset baby or child. It's not. And so what I did was I just let him cry. I comforted him. I diverted his attention as much as I could to reading books, playing games, toys, things like that. I really had a basket of stuff ready for whenever he would cry, and it would be just like little bitty trinket toys that only kept his attention for a minute or two. But it was a whole bin. It was a busy bin is what I called it. I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but that's what I called it. And it was like little things that kept him busy. And I allowed him to play with that instead of screen time. And so every time I put away a screen, or we put the iPad away, or my phone or whatever, put it away, I pulled out this bin, and this kept him busy. And this was something that diverted his attention. And then I started adding books to it and started doing things like that to where he stopped crying. But I do want to just put this out there. What I kept reminding myself every time he would cry was that I am the parent, I am in charge, I am the one that the Lord is asking me to do, and the Lord is asking me to do this. And I know that this is something that the Lord has asked me to do. The Lord has asked me to take screens away. That's something that whenever I was praying, he told me to do. So that was one thing that I always reminded myself, was that God told me to do it. Also, God allowed me to have this child in my life and allowed me to be able to parent him to the best of my ability. And this is to the best of my ability without screens. And I know that he doesn't need it. And I realized I am the parent, and I'm the one that has to train my child. And if I don't train him in any way in self-control and knowing when things can be used and all of that kind of stuff, then I am doing a disfavor to my child. And remembering all of those things and realizing I'm the parent, I can do this. I am the one that is going to be teaching my child how to be an adult one day, and self-control is a huge thing that I think is really important to make sure that you are doing and teaching your child, because there is no self-control in the world now, and you can tell that it just is not a priority. So all of that being said, that's what I reminded myself whenever he was crying and upset and I was trying to soothe him. But there were days in the very beginning where it was like the longest day possible because he was so whiny. So whiny. We started this on a Friday evening, and the whole entire weekend, the first like 3 days of it, was tough, man, tough. All he did was whine and cry all the time. And this was even when we only limited the time. Like whenever he still got screens 4 times a day, he was whining all day because he was so upset that he couldn't watch screens and be on, like, watch TV and stuff. And all of the shows that he watched was educational, so it wasn't even anything that was difficult. But anyways, long story short, those are the things I reminded myself. Those are how the days felt. They felt very long, whiny, and difficult. But I kept trying to divert his attention, and I kept praying to the Lord that he would give me the perseverance, the guidance, and the consistency to teach my son that there are other things out there besides this tablet and my phone and TV. There's things outside of that. And I kept praying to the Lord to give me the guidance and knowing if I'm doing the right thing, that this is the right thing, because no one wants to be around a whiny child that's crying and upset, and like you can't comfort them really in any way because they're upset that you're not doing something that they wanted. So there's that. Some of the rules that we implemented while I set up the times that he could watch, so the 4 times a day, there were some screen time rules that I had that helped it go a little bit easier, I guess. So all the videos had to be approved by me before he was able to watch them. He knew how to like click different videos and just keep going through the videos, but if I never saw which video he was going to watch, I would not let him watch it. I also had to be in earshot of the video, so that way I knew exactly what they were saying, what he was listening to, absorbing, all that kind of stuff. I had to be there to listen to it. And then the other thing that I wanted him to do was watch a Christian video first, like Adventure Bible Time or something like that, before he watched Silly Miss Lily or Miss Rachel, something like that. I wanted him to have started was limiting him to 4 times a day, and I would have it to where I taught him, or I was one in charge of getting him the videos, and I made him watch a Bible video, and I picked that one, and then I let him pick the other one, and then slowly I picked both. But it had to be approved by me. Every video that he watched had to be approved by me, and I had to be in earshot of it. I would never let him just sit on the tablet alone. And then the other thing that we did was I would try to get him to do certain tasks before we actually watched a show, so that way he would slowly maybe be more entertained by a toy, or more entertained by his busy bin that I had, or something like that. So that was kind of the goal. And then I made a list of things that I realized I was failing as a parent in, and why he was wanting screens so much. And so I made a list of things that we can do instead of screen time or before screen time to be able to maybe divert his attention, or to know that I exhausted all my resources before I allowed him to watch TV. So some of those things were to go play outside, to read books, to do a sensory activity, to do something on the list of quiet time or outside time, go for a nature walk, listen to music or an audiobook instead of watching screens. And so that was something that I wrote down to do before I let him have screens, or if he was asking for screens, did I do any of these things before he asked for it? Because I wanted to make sure that I was giving him my best. So I made a list of screen time rules, a list. You can only get screen time if you've done this, 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 and this. And if it's not followed, I've got rules for that. But he's at a different age right now. That's for more older children. But anyways, there's that. And then as far as other type of screen time ideas, is I have a list of screen time alternatives. And I refer to this all the time. And it's just got things like outside time, including them with everyday tasks, all that kind of stuff. I've just got a whole list of it that we can do instead. And so that's kind of what we had to do and what our rules are on it. We pretty much set him up for success as far as doing that, and getting him interested in other things besides watching TV. It was very difficult. It was not super fun, but our thoughts on screen time now is he only gets to watch screen time in the morning. That's it. And it's one show. And it's a family show, so I watch it with him. We sit together. It's a family thing. Or it could be one of my exercise videos that he gets to watch and he does with me. But it is always something that we're doing as a family, and it's something that we're watching together, and he only gets it in the morning. As my husband and I prayed about it a lot. I prayed about it throughout the whole entire day, and I prayed for self-control in my son. And I prayed for a really long time to God about it. And I did this all day. The full day I prayed for him, that things would go well and things would be fine. So there's that. I did that, and then we slowly started limiting him to all of those things. But right now, we don't watch screens in the evening. We don't watch screens traveling anywhere to and fro. But I have got a really good system down of toys. So I have toys in the car that occupy his time, that are like more like books where you press and it makes a noise, or like his little phone that he has, you press it and it makes a noise. And it's like a little toy phone, but little things that light up and are kind of obnoxious I like to have in the car because it keeps him occupied so much better. And so if we're going somewhere, either the car way there or back, we will pick one time where he can watch a video. Or if he doesn't want a video at all and he's not whining or complaining, then we just let him play with the toys. But that's something that we do. Or I'll let him listen to music instead of watching a screen or something like that. But those are our rules on screen time now. We are totally involved and invested in not having our kids addicted to a TV or a tablet or a phone or something like that, because there are so many adults, parents that are, and it's just so sad because their kids are not involved in their lives anymore because they're so addicted to their phone, and they're losing opportunities with their kids that children need to have. And knowing that their mom or dad is available to them is really important. So we had to look in the mirror and realize that we were also addicted to our phones, because our children typically are mirrors of what we do. And we realized that, and we realized that we were addicted to our phones as well. And so we have stopped phones in our own lives and stopped being addicted to our phones, and our child is now not addicted to his tablet because we are our tablet, but we call it his because he was the only one that really used it. But anyways, we have made it a very intentional time with him, and we realize like we don't have very many years with our son. We don't have very many years, and nothing's guaranteed between my husband and I either. And so we want to make sure that we are spending our time adequately and well. And so that's one of the things that we decided that we are going to be very intentional about from the very beginning of their life, and we're not going to quit. So now we have the rules set up that my husband and I agree upon, and things like that. So that's what we do. I mean, I don't know if that's helpful. I don't know if you're like, wow, that's stupid, but it's just stuff that we do, and we always incorporate books, games, we come up with fun stuff, and we're just very imaginative people. And so we can come up with fun games out of nothing, and I think that that's because of our childhood and what we had, and so I want my son to be just as flexible and adaptive. And just a reminder, while you're going through those hard days of taking away your phone or your tablet that your child's looking at and like screen time overall, and they're really whiny and fussy and upset, just remember, children are so adaptive. They can adapt to anything that you are doing, they can adapt to. And you're the parent, you can do this. This is something that if it's important to you, you can do it, and you can do it really well. And also realize that you only have your child for so long, and you need to make sure that you are training up your child well. And yeah, just remember that children are adaptive. They don't care. It may seem like they care in the moment. Sorry if you hear my stomach growling. You may think of it and hear it in the moment, but truly they can accomplish and be adaptive to anything. So there are my ideas. There's my tips. Those are thoughts on screen time and what we do and how we use it. And if we don't watch something in the morning, we'll typically not watch TV at all. But if we do, then it will be on one of the scheduled times that I set, like right before nap time or right before, like while I'm cooking dinner. Those are times where you can still have screen time if we don't watch in the morning. But we typically pick one time to watch screen time, and that's it. But yeah, anyways, I hope that was helpful. I don't know, but that's it. That's today's video. That's what we're doing. Bye!